Protecting the EU's common values within the member states. Hey, maybe you already know the European Union is founded on some fundamental values that are common to all member states. Human dignity, freedom, democracy, the rule of law, equality, and respect for fundamental rights, including those of minorities. For the Union to work, these values must be respected by all EU member states. But that isn't always the case. For instance, there are countries where LGBTQI rights and women's rights are not respected, where journalists cannot inform citizens freely, where prisoners and refugees are not treated with dignity, and where judges face disciplinary proceedings for their judgments. Well, such situations go against the EU's values and the rights recognized in the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights. Okay, so how can the EU respond to such violations when they occur? Basically, through three types of mechanisms. Firstly, the EU can employ monitoring tools. These give the EU an overview of the respect shown by member states for the EU's common values and allow it to determine if one or more member states are deviating from them. There are three main tools that allow EU institutions to monitor the situation as regards the state of affairs with regard to the EU's common values. The Justice Scoreboard, to measure the independence, quality, and efficiency of member states' justice systems. The European Semester, to monitor economic policies, including member states' budget plans, and rule of law-related issues, notably in the area of justice and the fight against corruption. And lastly, the Commission's annual Rule of Law report, which analyzes the situation in all 27 member states with regard to the independence of the judiciary, corruption, media pluralism, and respect for checks and balances. But what if a country violates one or more of the EU's common values? Well, in that case, the EU can resort to prevention or enforcement mechanisms, among which are the procedures described in Article 7 of the Treaty on European Union. Article 7 includes two mechanisms that protect EU values, one preventative and another that operates through sanctions. But how do they work? The preventative arm of Article 7 may be triggered if EU values are at serious risk in a member state. It allows the Council of the EU, with the European Parliament's consent, to send recommendations to the member state, in the hope that the member state in question follows them. But what happens if the member state doesn't follow these recommendations? Enforcement mechanisms may be used in such a case. This means that under the sanctioning arm of Article 7, the Council of the EU can impose sanctions on the member state concerned, including the possible suspension of its voting rights in the Council. However, this option has yet to be applied. There are also other enforcement tools that can be used when member states breach EU values, including infringement procedures and preliminary references. 1. If an infringement procedure is triggered, the Commission can take a member state to the European Court of Justice in Luxembourg. Then what? If the court finds that the member state is violating EU law and refuses to comply, it can impose financial sanctions if asked to do so by the Commission. 2. When national courts have doubts concerning the validity or the interpretation of EU law, they can decide to bring preliminary references to the European Court of Justice. The answer provided is legally binding. EU institutions have recently adopted a new mechanism providing for budgetary conditionality. This new tool may entail the suspension, or even the withdrawal, of EU funds from member states. But there's more. The European Parliament has proposed to strengthen current mechanisms by means of an EU Pact on Democracy, the rule of law, and fundamental rights. If adopted, the European Commission, the Council, and the European Parliament would be involved in an annual monitoring cycle that would cover all member states and EU values. This will help provide a more comprehensive picture of the situation across the Union and of the measures needed to address possible shortcomings. But this is all still a work in progress. Have a look at our latest publication to learn more.